Hey Simlies, it's Deligracy here, and today I am doing a quick little cute build, which is kind of a cute name for it. If I'd called it cute little sweet build or something, that would be nice. But this is a compact starter, and basically the inspiration for this house was seeing tiny houses that had little bedrooms up a tiny little staircase or ladder just on a small landing that would overlook the living space and kitchen. And I thought that was really nice. And even though I can't really achieve that in the same way in The Sims 4 because the staircases are too high and the next level is too high up, I decided to do it anyway by introducing a second level into a starter build, and this starter build actually ends up costing below 20,000 simoleons. So pretty cool because it can be difficult to get a starter to come under 20,000 just with one floor, let alone two floors. So I was kind of excited that we managed to fit it all in and make it look nice. But anyways, I'm excited for this week because I am off to Sydney later in the week to go to a Razor event, and then I am going to stay with James Turner for a little while, and we're going to make some videos together, hopefully, if we have enough time, and also we're going to be live streaming on 64 Bytes. So we're going to be versing each other on Thursday, so it's going to be pretty badass. But depending on when I post this video, that may have already passed. So, oh dear, hope that's not irrelevant by now. But anyways, for this speed build, I am, trying a few different things with roofing. Unfortunately, this roofing there's just no point in the end because we change it quite a bit. There was too much space inside the house, and I knew that all those walls and roofs, well, actually roofs don't cost anything, but the walls and the flooring would have ended up costing a little bit too much, so we made it even more compact. And this staircase goes up to a bedroom. It's really funny because I did this entire build in typical derpy deli, completely forgot the toilet and shower. So the first version of this house has no toilet and shower, and I was like, gosh, that was so easy. Can't believe how quickly I did that, and it's got everything in it, under 20 grand. Awesome. And then I was like, oh no, I forgot the toilet and shower. So I went back and I redid it, not from start to finish, but just added on those things. And somehow I ended up saving money. So, I don't know. It's got everything now. The finished version has everything. And I quite like this little detail here of having those two double-story columns. They just make the house look kind of pretty. And I think this would be a very good house for your Sims to move in straight off the bat. Or one sim, and they would hopefully meet another sim who could stay here for a little while. And then you could expand the house quite easily before selling it and then buying something a little bit bigger and a little bit more impressive. I was thinking about cutting that into a diagonal side just there on the deck, but I thought, nah, if you're going to add on to it and if you want to have a little seating area when you get a bit more money, that's actually a good little corner to have. So we kept that. And I am pausing because I am watching a YouTube video right now. Okay, moving on to the wallpaper. So the wallpaper was quite easy because I had seen tiny houses on Google Images, and a lot of them are quite Scandinavian looking. They use a lot of light birch woods, and I kind of liked that idea and decided to recreate it, and it wasn't too expensive in The Sims 4 either. And yeah, just trying a few different accents, but in the end we just use this kind of natural, almost like a mud brick for the arch of the roof or the A-line of the roof area. These trees were costing way too much, so we delete them. I was like, yes, landscaping, how fabulous. And I was like, oh damn, I have a budget here. So that didn't last for too long. One thing I love about tiny builds is just how contemporary they are. Small living is nowadays becoming more and more common because there are more and more people in the world, and also money is becoming to arguably come more and more difficult to get, or it's harder for younger people to purchase houses. At least that's the case in Australia right now. For people to buy their first house in Australia, you have to work really hard, like seriously put all your money towards a house unless you're earning way above average. Or you're going to need one of your parents or an inheritance, or you're going to need to come into money some other way. So it's tricky. I know some people will disagree with me on that fact, but for me personally, living independently, I've never had help from my parents, and I'm certainly not going to have help from them to buy my first house. I know that I'm going to be working my bottom off for a while to get there. So a tiny house is actually something for me that I think could be realistic. And I would love to, in real life, design a little house and get it built. And I don't know if I would live in it or if I could rent it out. But it would I think just the project of building a tiny house would be so much fun and so awesome. Imagine like inviting your friends over to your tiny house. So cool. So yeah, we're just, adding in a little kitchenette. Originally, I was going to put these cupboards underneath the staircase to give the illusion of extra storage. But I was like, hold on a second. We're going to need this space under the staircase for actual playable objects. So we're going to end up putting a fridge under there. The fridge is definitely player tested. It works a treat. And we're also going to end up putting a sink under there. And the sink works a dream too. We just had to move the sink a little bit further out from the wall and your Sims can get to it. So that utilized that space under the stairs really, really well. And this is just a little seating area with a little TV. And instead of putting a rug in, we actually end up making a rug in another way, and I think a much cheaper way. So I'm just going to use triangles here to lay out some of the floor carpets in a fun little pattern. And each bit of carpet, does it cost anything? It might be $0 or $1, I can't remember, but it is so cheap to do. And then you've got a nice little rug there that looks quite pretty. And by sizing up a painting, you only need one little painting. You don't need to buy a bigger painting. So that's another one. Or you can just get your Sims to paint paintings. That's another thing. And I've never actually moved the TV across on one of those coffee tables. I didn't even realize you could do that. I thought they only sat in the center. And I was like, oh, I love asymmetrical symmetry. Beautiful. So I was quite pleased about that. Here comes the fridge, just shoving that under the staircase there. And I was trying to think about what else I needed in this house. And I was like, yes, a sink would be good. Oh my gosh, by the way, last night, you guys, I was in bed and at 2 a.m. I woke up to being evacuated from my apartment building. It was crazy. We were like, everyone was evacuated. And I don't know why, because in the end, the fire brigade came and there were these guys with like gas tanks on their backs or whatever, oxygen tanks. And then after like 15, 20 minutes, they came back out of the building. They were like, yep, it's okay to go in now. So I assume it was a false alarm. I was like, holy moly, that was like scary as. But I'm really glad to tell you guys that I was one of the first people out of the building. And all I grabbed was my handbag, because it has my wallet in it, and my phone. I forgot to get my keys, which was stupid, but I wasn't locked out, so that was okay. And yeah, that's a lot better because 3 years ago when I was evacuated from my uni dorm because some of my, well, not my friends, but someone in another dorm room, they were smoking something illegal and they'd set off all the fire alarms. Yes, they were geniuses. So clever of them. Well done. Get the entire university dorms evacuated because you were doing something stupid. Oh my gosh. So funny though. But yeah, we got evacuated then and I could not believe it. For some reason, I woke up. I think that was about 4 a.m. I woke up, put my makeup on, got dressed, went outside. Why would you put your makeup on in an emergency? I was absolutely crazy. So I'm glad that happened because I realized, why would I do that? So this time I just walked out as I was in my pajamas, hair crazy because I had washed my hair and went straight to bed without brushing it. And you know when you do that and you wake up with like an afro, it's pretty much what happened to me. So yeah. Yep. And yeah, it wasn't very nice to wake up during the night to this voice saying, "Attention, evacuate immediately," over and over again. We're just doing a little bit of landscaping here. I actually thought I had finished the house, but we haven't, so we're gonna have to end up going back in again. But we've got some flowers around there. And we're actually going to get rid of a few of them because the landscaping's where it costs a lot of money. So we're going to have to delete a few things and, yeah, get rid of it. But that's okay. That's right. And yeah, I was putting this little nice, what do you call it? An art easel there. I thought, oh, that's a nice way to fill up space and a nice activity for your sim who lives here. But I think we get rid of the indoor one and leave the outdoor one. I'm not sure if we can afford both in the end. And we're also downsizing a few of the windows because the big ones were just a little bit unnecessary. So yeah. Okay, this is the next bit of recording where I realize, oh, okay, I need to put a toilet upstairs. So we start moving things around and I put a toilet in and I completely forget about the shower. Oh my God, Deli. I don't know. Today I woke up feeling really good and really energized and I'm already forgetting things and builds on Monday, the start of the week. So that's a little bit of a worry, isn't it? Again, doing the fun little carpet, but we're going to have to redo that in a second. But we put the toilet in and it's all looking pretty nice. Yeah, I like it. And on this wall here, I was like, it's looking a bit blank. What else can we do? I thought maybe we can put a towel above the bed and that's a little bit more of a really kind of humble house. Or then I thought maybe we'll put a couple of cupboards up here and a nice light sitting underneath them and maybe we can put a painting on top of it or a little picture with a tissue box using the 9 key to lift it up and place it using the Alt key to put on any angle. And yeah, that was okay. But then I realized we ain't got a shower. Oh my gosh, so silly. So the issue here was that the door is in the corner and in order to have a shower in there, we need the door in the middle. So we had to shift the bed over and extend the toilet wall by 2 spaces. So we're just fixing it all up again. We're going to have to redo that rug. It now sits slightly under the bed. So if you extend the place, you can see some more rug under there, which is an all right thing. So that's nice and fitted in there. So when you hop out of bed, hopefully you can put it on your toes. And then put it on your toes? What am I talking about? You can jump out of bed onto the rug so your toes are nice and warm. But yeah, we ended up putting in a shower. And here are the screenshots. So the tiny house is pretty cute from the outside, but we also got a peek of the interior at the beginning. But I like how it's got the really high ceilings on one end of the house, and I like how the ceiling's kind of that A-frame above the bedroom, and you can see there the shower. It's there. That is the picture showing you guys it is in the build. Not to worry, everything's there. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed just this little fun build for a starter home. You guys are always asking for starter homes, so hope you enjoy. Anyways, I hope you're having a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world. I'll speak to you guys soon.